Okay, we're starting part 3 of Project 3-Gun Shotgun here. We've got our Mossberg 930 JM Pro again in front of us here. Remember part 1 and 2, overall review. We installed the super strong magnet back here with some epoxy. We also installed the loading gate speed loader, or it's just smoothing that out, closing up the gap there. From Tacom there. Now, next step to getting this really ready for quad loads, getting this fore end ready. So first things first, a quick disassembly. Pretty much the only tool you're going to need is some sort of hex wrench, to take off the stabilizer brace for the magazine tube connecting to the barrel. So we'll just do that real quick. While we're doing this here, there's a Allen key on both sides. You don't need to totally remove it. Once you get it loose enough, so there's just one loose, flipping it over. If you didn't notice, the chamber's clear. Let me pick that up. Remember, that's rule number 1 all the time. No ammunition. These are dummy rounds, not real ammunition there. Okay, so loosened this up. That slides right off the end. You see it's just 2 parts, 2 halves there with the screws in there. We'll just set that aside. Then we're going to just take our magazine tube off. This is really the only disassembly we need to do to get the fore end off. Remember, there is a spring in here, how that magazine feeds. Okay, so we're getting to the end. Spring. Okay. Spring shot out. I'm just going to set our magazine tube aside. Spring's there. Alrighty. Get a good angle. Now, it just looks like a hunting shotgun with no tube on there. Now we're going to be taking the fore end off. This is just going to slide up, and it's removed. If we wanted to, we could do the rest of the disassembly for cleaning or whatnot, but this is really all we needed to start with. Getting this fore end off. I'm going to mask off an area here, then bring it back on camera. So essentially, we have a chamfer here started. That chamfer basically needs to be a lot more extreme to make a smooth transition from the loading port to the fore end for when you're doing those dual loads and especially quad loads. The other part that we're going to be modifying, which I now will actually take the barrel off. Okay, so barrel is removed. We have our gas ring in here. This is the heart and soul of this machine. Oh, sorry. This is the heart and soul of this machine right here. This is the part you got to keep this super clean. If you don't keep this clean, you're gonna have a bad time. So the Mossberg here has, people say reliability issues. That's if you don't keep it clean. It does need to be cleaned a little more frequently than other semi-autos, but I feel like that's not really a detractor. I like to keep my stuff really clean anyway. Trying to keep stuff from rolling around. So I'm just taking everything off the tube here. If you may notice, I'm organizing everything back here in the order it comes off in. I always find that really important, just keeping everything where it's supposed to be. Those are the pushers that actually, our gas system shoots all this back, actuates the action for loading the next shell. So this piece is the next piece we actually need here. This will also be sanded here. This is the retaining clip, essentially. There are some companies out there that make a better one of these out of aluminum that already has this raised up higher with a filed, or not filed, but shaped smooth angle there. What we're probably going to end up doing here is actually adding some JB weld on either end here, letting that set, and then filing that to shape so it puts more pressure up on the forend, eliminating that rattle that I showed in, I think, the first video. So this just needs to be a little bit tighter tolerances, essentially. So that's the retaining pin or retaining clip. I'm going to leave that for now. We'll take a quick break. I'm just going to mask this off, and we'll pick up from there. All right, we are masked off. Obviously using some handy blue tape, you know, get this at Home Depot or Lowe's, anywhere, painter's tape. Always have multiple rolls of that lying around your shop. It's so handy. It's better than just normal masking tape. I put a couple layers on, okay? I started by just following the contour, or not really contours, but the line of the checkering, and then where that chamfer starts. So I just took from the corner of that chamfer, following the angle of, you know, it's pretty much mirrored over here, of that. Got a nice triangle. This is the only area work's going to be done in. Like I said, a couple layers, protecting those areas that I don't want to touch. One thing to consider is the thickness of that forend. So looking at it, it's a little less than a 1/4 inch, or right around a 1/4 inch thick. So if we stop and think about that, if I cut it at this angle, that forend would be gone, right? So if I just took a saw and cut on that line, and that wouldn't be any good either. It'd be exposing the tube, and it just wouldn't be good, obviously. So we're going to go no further than this area. This is just going to basically be for feathering in to get a nice smooth finish. So we're going to start, I'm going to move location down to the machine room in the basement with the belt sander, and just slowly start sanding that up there. So without further ado, cut to basement. All right, so we're going to start with the belt sander here. Handy tool. You can pick one. This is a Craftsman one. You can get a even cheaper model at Harbor Freight. I've had this for years. Hasn't failed me at all. Disc sander, belt sander, easy to switch out belts. We'll be using the belt side. The disc is a little too aggressive for what we're doing right now. The name of the game is slow and steady. So we're going to start, again, looking at that chamfer that's already there, and basically just smoothing that out more. So we'll put some music over the machine sounds, and we'll go from there. All right. And there we go. So you can see the difference there. We followed that edge, bring it down to a much smoother transition there. Really only went about 1/2 inch or so. Again, because there's not a lot of material to work with there. And as you may have noticed in the time lapse, I had to stop here and there. Just grab a little X-Acto knife. Woo, there it is. To cut off basically flashing. With using a power tool versus hand sanding, one, it's faster, but working with plastic melts. So you got to be really careful not to press too hard, and to take the material off the sander once in a while and let the plastic cool back down, cut off that flashing, and go from there. So now we're actually going to go back upstairs. Going to do some hand sanding with some wet dry sandpaper, starting at about 220 grit, and just get this smoother. And then we'll look at the transition to the retaining pin or retaining clip, and look at how it looks put back together. All right, back upstairs. All right, we got our little wet sanding station going on. Wet dry sandpaper. Get it at your stores, right? Little dish of water. This is just how I do wet sanding. Lay down an old towel. I just fold it up. Soak the sandpaper. And sand. Wow, sanding. Okay, so I'm not even going to do a time lapse on this one. I'm just going to sand and then we'll look at the result. All right, we're sanded down to 220. It's nice and smooth. It does not need to be mirror polished for its purpose, just nice and smooth, coming down to more of a point there, more of an edge instead of a hard cliff. So we're going to reassemble. I'm going to take off this masking tape, don't need it there anymore. So we'll reassemble and look at what we can see and how much shaping we might have to do on the retaining clip. All right, so we're partially reassembled. I don't have the magazine tube back on there, so I can slide this on and off. So having this back together, what I'm seeing is that there's still a lot to go, okay? It's a lot better than it was instead of this being a total shelf, but there's still definitely a lip there. So at this time, what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is see how this goes. I'm going to practice a little bit, see if this smooths it out somewhat, and just kind of be happy with it for now. Again, I got to see how it goes. I might make it more extreme. We just got to see. So I'll reassemble it. I'll do some practice. We'll come back to this. What I'm thinking right off the top of my head right now is... there's that retaining clip there. I might bite the bullet and spend $20 or $30 and get that that better retaining clip there that fills in this gap here so we don't have this motion here. And then sand the forend even more extreme. So for today, I think, like I said, I'm happy with this. Got a good start on it. I just got to see how it runs. That's the key thing. Run the gun, see how you do it, modify as necessary, and get faster, get smoother, or rather get smoother to get faster. So we'll end part 3 here, and we'll pick up on this later. We'll see how this goes. All right, so if you got any questions, comments, suggestions welcome, comment below or send an email directly. And thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. And have a great rest of your day.